Freddie Freaker is a mysterious yellow monster and the topic of this video. According to his commercial, he is the party freak, a dancing new sensation, and reportedly, he is currently grabbing the nation from New York to LA. Party Freak is the original 1980s commercial in which Freddie Freaker appeared. In the commercial, Freddie danced around and spoke a line while a singer was narrating about the greatness of Freddie Freaker and how everyone should call the number 1-900-490-FREAK. One theory from user Pablo Di Pablo states that Freddie Freaker is a modern Jesus allegory posed as if he is being crucified. 1-900-490-FREAK was shut down for our sins. This theory is very plausible. The theologian YouTuber known as Freddie Freaker Fan Club said in his 15-minute extravaganza known as Freddie Freaker Let's Play, ascertained and teaches that Japanese anime is the Antichrist, attempting to take the study of freakology away from our children. Side note, Freddie Freaker Fan Club is not an infallible source. It should be taken with a very minor grain of salt. He has made claims that Freddie Freaker is related to the Berlin Wall. I believe what he says to be true. Others have disagreements on his theology when it comes to Freddie Freaker. Another theory from one of the community members states that Freddie Freaker is a girlfriend-stealing asshole who needs to leave. Why did he steal my girlfriend? Another theory from a community member sheds light on a situation that involved Freddie Freaker, who would hit them repeatedly over the head with a shillelagh, then proceeded to take all of their Yu-Gi-Oh cards. While Freddie Freaker's history remains largely unknown, some analysts have been able to piece together a semi-cohesive story based on the bits and pieces we know. Way back in the 1940s, the Coca-Cola Corporation brought out a new variety of soda, Fanta, which would primarily be marketed in Nazi Germany due to the lack of availability of ingredients to make a traditional Coke, as well as a reduced market due to general anti-American sentiments. Many high-ranking Nazi officers, namely Heinrich Himmler, were fond of cola and were saddened by its lack of presence in the Third Reich. To circumvent this, he and his fellow officers struck up a deal with the Coca-Cola Corporation to transport several tons of soda into Germany via airdrops. Orders were issued for several thousands of reserve soldiers to travel to the site of the drop and commence the construction of massive tunnels and underground regions to store the large cache of soda. On August 3, 1943, several Coca-Cola branded B-24 bombers flew over a rural region near Berlin, dropping at least 40 one-ton packages of soda, which were promptly stored underground. Daily trips were made between the cache and the bunkers of the officers. Adolf Hitler himself was rumored to have come quite fond of the soda due to its increased availability. Tragedy then struck in the winter of that year when a reckless British air raid demolished the cache in its entirety. The officers, though saddened by their lack of soda, abandoned the caves out of necessity, knowing the local area was too dangerous for venturing out to the soda cache anyway. Over the preceding years, the high acidic content of Fanta ate away at the limestone floor of the cache, traveling deeper and deeper into the planet's crust, unbeknownst to anyone on Earth. This all changed on May 1st, 1945, where a largely believed to be dead Adolf Hitler discovered the cave's secrets. He had staged his suicide the day prior, escaping into temporary exile via one of the previously mentioned soda-running tunnels to hide out in the aftermath of the war. However, upon arriving, it was discovered that the soda had revealed a collection of seemingly ancient ruins. A crack team of Nazi scientists were able to decipher the runes, discovering that they revealed the location of a portal to what appeared to be another dimension. Hitler then rushed to the location of this portal and traversed between dimensions. He could not understand his surroundings, for they were too complex to make sense of. He couldn't take it any longer and returned back to his native dimension, but what he saw remained with him. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt like he was transported right back. He grew deathly ill, losing a severe amount of weight and suffering from frequent violent and explosive bursts of bloody vomit and diarrhea. After many days and nights of endless suffering, he succumbed to his sickness and fell limp. His corpse then grew brittle and hard, crystallizing like a cocoon. He remained in this state for several decades until the location of his death was discovered by a team of archaeologists in the late 1980s, led by Ronald Milton McFarlane. By this time, the portal had long been dormant, but the Hitler cocoon remained largely the same as the day it was formed. Carelessly, one archaeologist made contact with the cocoon, agitating it and causing it to explode into several large glass-like shards. All were killed in this explosion, except Ron McFarlane, who survived with major lacerations all over his body. Out of the dust and debris stepped a small, highly distinct creature. This was the Freddie Freaker that the ancient runes had prophesized. Ron, having narrowly escaped the cave, had assumed the worst was behind him. However, his team had unleashed an unspeakable threat upon mankind. Using the cave as his center of operations, Freaker quickly set up a telephone operations center from which his hotline operated. It is largely held that Freddie Freaker, being an eldritch demon, uses his phone line as a means of locating prey for him to consume, further increasing his power. Based on an amalgamation of ancient texts, it is said that Freddie will claim victims and grow in strength until the year 2050, at which time he will bring about the final judgment days, subsequently the end of the Age of Man.
$2 a call.